Hello traders, this is Rich from tradesight. This is the daily look at our market leading stocks via our proprietary scans for the coming session. This is going to be for Wednesday, January 29th, 2014. Today in the NASDAQ patch we have much less range, a little bit of a more quiet day than the last couple days. We've got a couple signals here to the buy side, but really nothing with any kind of a real overall bias here for the market. So I have to take them kind of individually here. Do some volume bumps. We've got a volume bump in Apple following the earnings. We've got one in Entertainment Arts, EA. We've also got one in Qualcomm and Netflix. One with Qualcomm, that volume bump also has some buy signals associated with it. So that's going to be especially interesting. The other thing to point out is we're seeing some extreme strength in Netflix. More than 6% above the day's open and nicely above the day's VWAP as that's pushing out to new highs here. Moving on to the financials, not a lot of signals here, but a couple of features. Got a volume bump in the CME. That one's actually fairly flat versus today's open. The ICE is lower on the day, putting up a contra candle. Lower on the day, that's below the open, putting up a contra candle to the sell side. We've also got a volume bump in MasterCard MA. That's trading much better than typical volume, and a lot of these, keep in mind, are earnings driven. Moving on to the energy patch, this one's got a bit of a bias, but on fairly light volume. We've got a number of upside CPS conditions, but most of these are coming on fairly light volume, unfortunately. Got a big move to the upside here in CHK and also one in Arch Coal ACI. Moving on to the generals, a couple of upside CPSs. I've got one HPQ, one in GE, one in Deere, and Comcast right now is going to figure out what it wants to do before the close and decide whether it wants to go with a buy signal or a sell signal tomorrow. Right now it's conflicted. Got a volume bump in Pfizer as well as Caterpillar. Keep an eye on Caterpillar. That's actually holding up fairly well, but hasn't really broken too much out of the 2-day range. Definitely could be a trade there tomorrow. Now we're taking a look at the housing names. These are definitely better to buy on good volume. A lot of these names are up quite a bit. We had the Case-Shiller number this morning that was fairly well received. DHI's got a open-close deviation. NVR does, and so does Hovnanian. Looking at the transports, most of these are bouncing back after having a terrible week last week. Norfolk Southern actually has an upside CPS condition, so I keep an eye on that for tomorrow. And finally, the commodities. Definitely not where the action is today. Very, very light volume for the most part. The only thing that's really doing anything here is U.S. Steel, which is 3% below the day's open on some pretty big volume. Double G is pretty strong today. Got a bit of an open-close deviation. That's 2.5% above the day's open, so I might want to keep an eye and track that one for tomorrow. All right, folks. As always, thanks for listening. This has been Rich for tradesight.